Merry Christmas is here this week. One more time it comes in the membranes of my mind. The church bells ring out and Pope Francis heralds Christus natus est. Christ is born and the heavenly host explodes in song. Wonderful Counselor, a mighty King, the everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. Fear not, and tidings of great joy and peace on earth, goodwill toward men. And this year, even in the blessing and beaming of the star of Bethlehem, which shines anew in the southeastern sky this week. Yea, one more time it comes, for the snow has already fallen, and the moon on the breast of it already brightly shines in our hearts and in our souls. And the children bask in wonder and promise. For old St. Nick is on his way to fill all those stockings and turn with a jerk, and to shake when he laughs like a bowl full of jelly. Oh yes, he lives, and he lives forever, making glad the heart of childhood. Oh yes, Christmas comes, and at St. John's Soup Kitchen in Newark they will feed the homeless their turkey and stuffing and pumpkin pie. They'll play the carols of old and pass out fresh blankets to warm them by night. Yes, it comes in want and in need and in abundance and in humility and in kindness and mystery, in song and in you. Hosanna, Gloria tibi Domine, indeed. Hark the herald angels sing, go tell it on a mountain. One more time it comes and we are lifted and hope and joy abound and ascend, yes, oh yes, oh yes, to the wonder and the promise and the legends and lore of it all. To Dickens' immortal A Christmas Carol and Frank Capra's It's a Wonderful Life, and Bing Crosby, old Father O'Malley's The Bells of St. Mary's, and O. Henry's Sacred, the Gift of the Magi, and why even in Netflix's Chronicles and Klaus, oh yea, it comes, and with it yet another chance to make right our ways of being in the world. We are, during this holy season, more than any other, the long arch of the COVID infestation and threat notwithstanding, imbued with the spirit of giving. No matter our insistence about standing down this year, respecting COVID, Christmas still pushes, still prods, still insists onto the spirit and the grace of giving. The first gift of Christmas was the baby, born in abject humility in a stable amidst the animals, wrapped in swaddling clothes. The holiest of gifts, a love made manifest, and a promise so rich that it is beyond our dreaming, beyond our imagining. And the three kings from the east brought gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Gifts, gifts, gifts. In giving his midnight service sermon, the bishop and the bishop's wife, played by David Niven, says, "You give me a book, and I give you a tie. Aunt Martha has always wanted an orange squeezer, and Uncle Henry, why, Uncle Henry can do with a new pipe. Oh, we forget no one except the one whose birthday we are celebrating." I disagree with that. For I believe that it is during this Christmas season of light and hope, more than any other time of year, and certainly more than New Year's Day, when we truly consider the who, what, and why of our ways of being in the world. It is when we sing our muted, even silent songs of upping the ante and determining to be more present in the lives of our brothers and sisters. It is when we actually do put on Christ and become haunted by the fear and sadness we see in the faces of the runaways at Covenant House in New York City, and the beautiful children with the outrageous cancers at St. Jude's. It is when we do not run from, but rather pause to ever so clearly see the assembled homeless in the embrace of their tattered blankets by their meager fires in the back alleys of 1,000 different cities. It is when we see with our hearts and our souls, and not merely our eyes, when we recognize that it is on each of us, all of us, both you and I. For if not you, if not I, then who? When we, in our own reckoning with abject humility, grasp the simple fact that our great charge in life is to simply be the gift given, to be the gift outright, Just imagine what a world it could be. If only, if only. Yes, it is at Christmas, said Scrooge's nephew, when we seem to open up our pent-up hearts freely and treat each other as if we really are fellow passengers to the grave and not another set of creatures bound on other journeys. At Christmas, we remember that the poorest of the poor are ours, that they belong to us, and that there, but for the grace of God, go we. And so many do give from their poverty or from their hearts or from their actions or from their prayers. The gift of prayer is a mighty thing. I was born at Margaret Haig Maternity Hospital on March 12, 1950, the once baby mill of the East Coast, as a light snow blanketed the streets of Jersey City. This will then be, this Christmas, as hard as it is for me to believe, my 71st. Extraordinary, just talk about gifts given. After my 15-month hospitalization and implausible defeat of the Neisseria meningitis, this will now be my 15th, which at the time of my release, just 3 days before Christmas, I never could have imagined. And gift looms as too small a word. Oh yes, gifts given, the wonder of Magi, 12 beautiful children and their 23 beautiful children, and brothers and sisters loved and extraordinary extended families, and cousins and great friends, many of whom have long held me up as benefactors since my fall from physical grace. And there's my work in the past, my life of service and belonging and striving and contriving, and the ability to write and books written, my teaching and my extraordinary students, and here and there a legacy, and yes, even the recognition that one's enoughs are never quite enough. There's always more. Out of all this, the simple salient missive that each of us must be and have always and ever been a gift, and that every once in a blessed while we get to be the first gift of Christmas to and for all in our lives. And now a twist and a turn of the page. Not long ago, I was asked to read an account of the dying of my cousin David Cassidy in Vietnam in 1968, written by one who served in his battalion with him. Yes, 52 years later, he by happenstance connected with one family member who connected with my cousin, Grace, Bambi, who, trusting that I would do no harm, kindly entrusted it to me. Imagine 52 years before getting what might be the all of the truth. It took me some time to write what I share here because I wanted to honor the trust given me. I now know details about Dave's division and the squad to which he was attached. I also know that they were long at base camp and that the 22nd of November, the very day he passed, was ironically and sadly the very first time that they actually moved out into the field. Having set up camp and entrenched, it was just as the sun set on that Friday night, when light turned to darkness, that a fierce battle ensued. Supported by air power, their foe was driven from the field and it subsided. But in the aftermath, while they relaxed, fire and mortar rounds periodically kept raining down upon them. In fact, Terry wrote that at one point it was as if all hell was descending upon them. He heard the medevac helicopters wondering and worrying about who must have been hit. The sad truth is that were it not for the lack of a few more building stakes, they would have finished the roof over the trench connecting the working and sleeping compounds of Dave's squad. Just a chance and fate of a glitch in a trench that led to the wrong place, wrong time moment of madness that took Dave. For I now know that David, sitting, talking, laughing, and smiling broadly, something that he did quite well, with his back to an opening, was positioned where he took the chance hit of a mortar round for all. I also know that he was the youngest in their command, that he was extremely well liked by everyone, and that he was treated like the younger or kid brother. All sought to protect him. I also know that he did not suffer and that death was virtually instantaneous. So too I clearly know, that it was sacrificial. His death was sacrificial in a sense, in that others, those closest to him, his friends, would most certainly have been hit were it not for him. The why and how of this was clearly explained. I know that his brothers took it very hard, and that they had a field funeral for him the next morning, and that there was not a dry eye anywhere. I know that he was cared for and appreciated. I also know that while others were wounded, he alone sacrificed all that day. I know that 52 years after the fact, Barry Jansen, who wrote this, mourns the moment and the memory still. I know how hard his friends took his loss, and that those with us still have never forgotten. And I know that in all of this, there is much that those who love him might want to know. After all, David still lives in us, still smiles upon us. And so I add the gift of the life of my cousin, David Alexander Cassidy, to this Christmas bouquet of a podcast. For Vietnam is not mere history, in that it too still lives in us. And in what Barry wrote, I could not help but see my beautiful Aunt Dot, those 52 years ago, telling me that what she feared the most was that he would not be remembered. Aunt Dot, the very textbook definition of the word gift, amazingly passed away only earlier this year at the ripe young age of 102. And so well aware now, I am certain, that Barry remembers. And so too we, family, extended family, and his brothers in service. Yes, David's life was a gift given, to be heralded and celebrated. So this week especially, this Christmas week, take note of the gifts that give voice and meaning and purpose and love and joy to you, and be the gift, the best possible gift that you can be for others. Of course, we buy the toys for Tots and the necklace and the LL Bean flannel shirts and those books and that thing that says something more and that bottle of Bailey's or wine. And we do so, but do so just so long as your spirit of giving and the fire of the same that the babe born on Christmas Day longs for you to burn brightly beams. So long as you remember that we are first and foremost our brothers and sisters' keepers, and that the new world we long for is only possible when and if we, you, each of us takes that first step. You are, I promise you, the gift given. You are, as O. Henry insisted, the Magi. And so a blessed and Merry Christmas to you all. May it be said that you too knew how to keep Christmas well. And may that also truly be said of us and of all of us. This is Christmas week, and the new beginning of all things for you ascends. No better week, my friends, upon which to smile on your brothers and sisters. Light it up. Enjoy.